to a lot of people who knew Trump, some friends, some not so good friends, but who knew him. I don't think Donald Trump really sees other people as other than characters in the reality show in which he is the star.
Right.
I'm not sure he's capable of really seeing other people, if you know what I'm saying. Like everyone else are just a props in his story, and they're either sworn enemies who hate Trump and he must destroy them because they prosecuted him and they must be destroyed, or they love Trump and therefore they are great, right? And they're a prop. And the reality though is Donald Trump really exists in some ways to fulfill his own dreams of becoming the most important, most powerful person in America, the most famous person in the world. But he also exists functionally to fulfill some of the longest running goals of the far right and the Republican Party. Just understand that the far right, particularly the Christian right, has opposed the creation of a federal Department of Education really since the 1920s and 1930s when this idea first came up. And in the 1920s, the far right Christians opposed it because they feared that it would change education from being a Bible-based enterprise in which local women would simply teach the Bible, out in little schools like Laura Ingalls Wilder type little schools, to something more formalized where you'd have a national education. This idea of nationalizing education frightens a lot of people on the right because they're afraid it will take out their ability to infuse conservative Christianity into education.
Yeah.
And also the far right, to be honest, has opposed the parts of the Department of Education that ban discrimination, both racial discrimination and now gender identity discrimination, something they really want to engage in when they want to, right? So the idea is that the Department of Education does not fund most public schools. Most public school funding comes from local property taxes. That's why rich people have better schools than poor people, because their property tax base is bigger. The Department of Education maybe provides 10% of public school funding. But what the Department of Education does is it enforces anti-discrimination rules that mean you can't discriminate against a trans kid. You can't discriminate by race. You can't discriminate against girls versus boys in school. That's what the Department of Education does. And that's what offends the right. That's why they've wanted to get rid of it since Jimmy Carter signed the law after Congress passed the creation of the department, which is why he said, well, it may come before the Democrats. No, it will, dude, because Congress has to vote to eliminate this department. You can gut it. You can fire everyone. You can ruin it. You can have that lady from WWE she and her husband apparently were looking the other way when people were being abused sexually. You can let that lady, allegedly, you can let that lady gut and destroy it. But all you're going to do is hurt disabled kids who have federally funded programs to help them, kids with who need speech therapy, kids who need other sort of accommodation because of disabilities, and you're going to allow more discrimination. That's all that you're going to accomplish with your pen, dude.
Joy, why are we here right now? When you think about it, and you talked about the origins, right, of opposing, or the beginnings of opposing a Department of Education, and a lot of it is based on religion and racism, and that's kind of the place that we're in, right? You were talking about the 1920s and 30s. We're still here. We're still there.
We are. And it's interesting that many of our problems, many of the things that we're going through right now in the country are because of race and religion. You know that. You and I both know that it's complicated to be able to talk about that on cable news. It's not always welcome, but it's just true.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of crazy how okay, we have so much to talk about. Hold that thought, because I want to seriously, I want to get through the news today, and we're really going to have a talk. So you guys make sure you stick around. And let me just say this, Joy, because you're going to have to say this as well. We are joined today on the Don Lemon Show by the great Joy Reid, an exclusive, and she's going to talk about everything, the news of the day, and her departure from MSNBC and what she is doing. But make sure you hit the thumbs up and the like, because it affects the algorithm, and more people get to become aware of our little, I shouldn't say little, our mighty, right, Lemon Nation, and become a member. It's important that you become a member, because that keeps us streaming in these independent streets. We don't have the big corporate sponsors, and we want to remain independent. And so we depend on the kindness of strangers, on the kindness of family. I shouldn't say strangers like you. So like, subscribe, and become a member. The membership link is at the top of the chat. Okay, so let's talk about Donald Trump. Went on Laura Ingraham. I believe it was night before last, as we say, and she talked to him about Canada. And I don't understand why he hates Canada. He's in love with Putin. But I was shocked. Yesterday I played like 10 seconds of an interview with her, and I ended up doing like 20 minutes of a fact check that she couldn't do, and just from 10 seconds of her interview, right? And then she started keying it up at the end for like 4 or 5 minutes just about Canada being the 51st state. Watch this.
Tougher with Canada than you are with some of our biggest adversaries.
Only because it's meant to be our 51st state. And
okay, but
but listen to this for a second.
We need their territory. They have territorial advantage. We're not going to let them get close to China.
Look, right? I deal with every country, indirectly or directly. One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada. The people that, now this was Trudeau, the people that good old Justin, I call him Governor Trudeau, his people were nasty, and they weren't telling the truth. They never told the truth. You know that, they'd say, well, we don't charge. Well, they do. They charge tremendous. And if you look at dairy products, what they've done to our farmers, I'd go up to Iowa, I'd go up to different places, Nebraska, and they would always complain about Canada, how they get ripped off. Do you know that Canada has a 250% tariff? 250, nobody knows that. They charge us numbers that are crazy. We have a very big deficit with Canada, and there's no reason, much more, we have much more. Just so you understand, we subsidize Canada, and I like Canada. I love Canada. I love Wayne Gretzky.
The Liberal guys,
I love his wife.
The Liberal Party is going to win now in the next election, most likely. And they were down and out. Isn't that going to make them more hostile to us and possibly
I'd rather deal with a liberal than a
for China closer to Canada, and that would really put us in a bind.
The conservative that's running.
So there was someone who said if they make Canada the 51st state, then the Republicans would never win again because they're so liberal up there, our neighbors to the north. But I mean, why would you, if you were sitting down doing an interview with Donald Trump, would you be normalizing it like that? Or
good afternoon, YouTube. Happy Saturday. So I wanted to bring this video to you guys because I was watching the Don Lemon show, and he had Joy Reid on his show, and it was phenomenal. It was more than an hour. They talked about, of course, they talked about politics, current events. They talked about a lot of things. And I was, when Joy was fired and everybody was like so upset, I was thinking to myself, and I was actually telling people, like, this is a good thing. Joy Reid is brilliant. She's very, very smart. She's very knowledgeable, very resourceful. She's going to do extremely well, but we need a Joy Reid unleash. We need a Joy Reid that's going to call balls and strikes, and it's very difficult to do that on a network. It's very difficult to do that on like an MSNBC or CNN. Any legacy media is going to be difficult to do what she's needed, what's needed of her, what's needed from her. It's going to be difficult because we need like a Joy Reid unleash. You kind of like Don Lemon unleash. Everyone in my office, not everyone, but it's a lot of women in my office. I work around a lot of women. It's a lot of women in my office, and they love Don Lemon. They talk about Don Lemon. They talk about all of the how he's unleashed, how he's much different. He's very unapologetic about his positions and his stances, and we need that for Joy Reid. The one thing that I can say about social media, conservatives dominate these spaces. There's a lot of conservative commentators. There's a lot of conservative leaning people, and that's totally fine. But we need more progressive, more left leaning people who are not afraid, who are very unapologetic, who are going to state their opinion, state their ideologies and their perspectives very unapologetically. So I love the fact that Don Lemon is on YouTube. YouTube now. I believe that Joy is going to be on YouTube as well. I'm pretty sure she still is going to be in this arena where she's doing her political commentary. And I just feel like if you guys get a chance, check it out. They talked about a lot of things. I didn't want to talk about their opinions on each thing because, of course, they talked about the Department of Education. They talked about Doge. They talked about all of these things. I think the overarching the mood to me was being very unapologetic in what you're saying. It's like kind of unscripted, unleash. I'm telling it like it is. I'm giving my real opinions when they were talking about the Department of Education, because I think a lot of people think dismantling or defunding the Department of Education is about money. It's about, oh, this money is so wasteful. Our children are not doing well, so we want to make sure to like save money and those things. But Joy broke it down, what it was really about, and I agree with her wholeheartedly. And so I want you guys to take a look at some of the clips. I'm going to insert, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to insert the clip and the beginning of the video, so you should have already seen the clip. And I wanted to do the clip regarding the Department of Education because I believe that was probably the best point that she made. I mean, she made really great points. Like I said, she's a very smart, intelligent, knowledgeable woman. But the point that she made regarding the Department of Education, I was just like, she's spot on. She is spot on. And I think it's imperative for people to see it, because I think on a very surface level, people think it's just about money. And I think there's a larger issue at play. I really do. And I think that she just kind of spoke to it in a very succinct way. So I want you guys to take a look at that. You should have already seen it. And I just kind of wanted you guys to watch the interview, because I think that you'll get a lot of it out of the interview. Joy is doing very good. She's doing well. Like, I think she said people in the beginning of the video, she was like, people were like, how are you? How are you? And she's like, I'm fine. Like, I'm totally fine. It's like, this woman is like a Harvard graduate. She's had shows before. She had a show on MSNBC. She's going to be perfectly fine. She still have a voice. She still have a platform. She still have an audience. So, you know, she will still have a voice. She will still be like celebrated, congratulated. She will still be watched. People will still follow her. So, I mean, of course, she's doing fine. Don Lemon is doing very well on YouTube after his departure from CNN. So it was nice to see that she's doing well. It was nice to see that she still is going to provide political commentary. And I loved her point regarding the Department of Education. And I love how unapologetically, like how unapologetic she's speaking. She's being very unapologetically Black, very unapologetically loud, very unapologetically boisterous. Like, she's being the unapologetic voice that we need. And that's the reason why I felt like it was necessary for her no longer to be at MSNBC, because when people were so outraged, at first it was very jarring and shocking. She talked about her team having to reapply for their jobs. She was more concerned about her team. And Rachel Maddow spoke to that as well, being concerned about how their team and people who helped them with the show, how those people are being treated. They weren't necessarily worried about themselves, because they're big names and they have a large following. So people are still going to follow them, advocate for them, want to hear from them. But they were more concerned about their actual teams having to either reapply or find opportunities elsewhere. They were more concerned about that. So she spoke to that as well. And like I said, the Doge, like she talked about Doge, she talked about all of those things. But like I mentioned before, what I found more valuable than anything is her being able to just speak her truth, her being able to talk and be unapologetic about what she say, kind of hold no punches. And I think this is going to be a phenomenal thing for her. Like, it's worked out for Don Lemon, and I think mostly for us. I think it's good for us. But because when you are working in legacy media, there's a lot of rules and regulations you have to adhere to. There's, of course, you have board members, you have management, you have people who are going to say you have to tone down and make it more palatable for like everyone. And she don't have to do that now. She can just, the most beautiful, phenomenal thing about YouTube is there are several things that I love about YouTube. But I think what's the best thing about YouTube is that it's independent. You can say what you truly feel, what you truly believe, and people can take it or leave it. I had yesterday, because you guys know I'm a very, very thick-skinned person. I've been through a lot of my life. I've overcome a lot. I've succeeded and accomplished a lot. And so I'm very thick-skinned. When you're on social media, it's imperative that you be thick-skinned. It's imperative, and it's imperative that you tell your truth, and it doesn't matter. Like I said, people can take it or leave it. It genuinely, literally does not matter. These are my ideologies. These are my perspectives. These are my opinions. You can like them or you can not like them. They're still going to be what they are regardless. And I think that's what we need from Joy. We need her to turn on this camera and we need her to say it how she truly feels, how she truly believes it. And I think she's going to be a warrior for us. So I want you to take a look. I have just, you know, some clips, but I would love for you guys to watch the actual interview. I thought it was very, very informative. It was not, like I said, it was nice to see her and Don. It was nice to see Joy doing extremely well. It was nice to see how knowledgeable and smart she is. I mean, I already knew it, but just kind of to hear her just speak and give her opinions about what's going on in politics, what's going on in current events. It was very refreshing and nice to see. And so I just wanted to make a quick video letting you guys know about the interview in case you haven't seen it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already seen it or already know about it. I just kind of wanted to give my perspective on it. My perspective is this. It's just very simple. We need Joy Reid Unleashed. I love Joy Reid Unleashed. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's going to be great for more left-leaning, progressive, because like I said before, conservatives and more right-wing people are more, they, you know, have social media, more of a presence on social media, I would say. Now, when I meet people in regular everyday life, people are more in the middle. And that's what I want. That's kind of what I kind of wanted to articulate as well. I literally was at the grocery store and I was talking to a guy. He said it was an older guy. I think he said it was 67. I think he said it was 67, and he was more conservative. He said he was from Texas. We had a phenomenal conversation, like a phenomenal conversation. He like literally was like, I'm not leaving, like, because he was finished shopping, and like I seen him again, and he was like, I'm not leaving because I want to finish our conversation. And I was like, okay, but you're done shopping and I'm just almost like in the middle of shopping or whatever. But he was like, but it's imperative that we finish this conversation. We had a great conversation. We did not agree on many things, and that's okay, because we still had a good conversation and we were still able to like part, and you have a nice day, you have a nice day, and everybody go on with their lives. So it's like I said, in real life, everyday life, you're gonna meet people that's more in the middle. On social media, people are more in their camps, and that's fine as well. But we need Joy Reid. We need a Joy Reid Unleashed, and I want you guys to watch the video and have a phenomenal Saturday. I have so much stuff to do today, so I'm gonna get to doing what I need to do. But you guys have a phenomenal day, and I will speak with you guys tomorrow. Bye.